So WikiHow is the world's most popular how-to website because they offer a lot of visual content than other how-to sites. And we're honored to have Thom Scher here, who's heading up Director of Visual Everything and Anything at WikiHow. Is that correct?
Visual content and marketing.
Perfect. Take it away.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. I want to talk about WikiHow and sort of this idea of visual content on our website, which didn't used to have it. So this all started about 4 years ago when we basically sat down one day and looked at our mission, which is basically to teach everyone everywhere how to do everything, and realized that that's almost impossible to accomplish without images. And the reality is that we looked at our site and there were very few images at all. There were some bad Flickr images that had been loaded in over time. There were a few basically user-uploaded images on their articles. But the site as a whole was very, very dry. So 4 years ago, we started an initiative to start producing this visual content ourselves. And the idea here is that when you take a step like this, which is basically an abstract from our article on how to make an origami, I think, rose, it means nothing. Like, even if you'd followed steps 1 through 11 of this article, which I tried to do before I came in today, without the images, it was a disaster. My rose looked like crap. The end of the day, though, this step means nothing. But when you add an image to it, there it is. If you add an image to it, it becomes instantly understandable. You don't even need the full text. You understand exactly where to put the tweezers. You understand exactly how that rose is supposed to look. So this is a really obvious use case, right? Like, slap some images on your craft articles and bam, it's easier to understand them. We went a level deeper and we realized that on softer topics, adding curated step-by-step visual content can actually make a huge difference to user engagement, and it makes the content digestible. This is an illustration from, I believe it's How to Survive a Long-Distance Relationship. And this particular illustration style is something that we've realized we can use on a broad range of our relationship articles and really move the needle with it. Now, in the process of trying to figure out what came next, as 4 years ago we started illustrating relationship and mental health topics, we thought to ourselves, why not just add stock photos? Well, when you add stock photos, you get things like that. And that's really bad. And when you're looking at cooking articles, for example, nobody wants Mr. Chef Hat and the menu board. They want the actual process shots. They want to understand how to cut the tuna, how to make the dressing, what that sauce looks like every step of the way, and then at the end, what that product looks like. And that sort of became this guiding mentality for us as we moved forward with this process. And 4 years down the road, we learned a couple of things, and it started with the first photo shoot we ever did. So I was on set with this photo shoot, and we got into the studio, and I sat down with Elise, who is a Google marketer who moonlights as the WikiHow fitness model, and we immediately tried to read her the article and have her do it. That didn't work at all, actually. We started reading her the steps, and she didn't understand the steps. So she started asking us questions in abstract. What do you need me to do? Get into the position yourself, show me. So we found ourselves rewriting articles as we started shooting. And with time, this turned into a process where all of our photographers and illustrators began weighing in on the visual content. And the article ends up utilizing the images just like the images are part of that text. So the text and the images have to work together. And at the And I think frequently publishers look at things like this and they think the images are just supplemental. But we quickly realized that they can't just be supplemental. They have to actually work together. Now, 4 years down the road, we started thinking, how do you actually measure success when you're adding images like this? So these are from How to Make Macaroni and Cheese. And version 1 over here was from the really early days of the WikiVisual project, and we thought it was so cool. It's not. It's really bad illustration of blocks of yellow being put in water. And here's the thing, though. It still led to an increase in traffic on the page. We were being rewarded for adding images. Regardless of whether or not the images were crappy, we were being rewarded. We then go to version 2, and we replace those with photo. And when we replaced them with photo, we saw engagement on the page change really dramatically. People stayed on it longer. Their click-through to other articles went up pretty dramatically. We were able to actually track that when the right visual content matches with the right written content in the right categorical bucket, you could move the needle. For food, that was actual photos of food. Then when we replaced that with video, what we found was not just that we got the traffic boost and the engagement boost, but we also got an authority boost. People told us that the articles were more helpful. They viewed the video as providing an actual verified element to the article. Now, I want to take a step aside for a second. Not very many people click through on the videos. And that was something that really surprised me. All these publishers go through all this work to create all this video content, and for us, the data says not that many people are actually engaging with the video. You still get the helpfulness bump the second you slap the video on the page, but people aren't actually using it. And I started diving deeper to try to find out where they were using it, and one of the things that surprised me was that they're on topics for kids. How to hopscotch, how to subtract fractions. And these kind of topics, kids actually click through on the video. And I would challenge publishers, if there's anybody in the room that is a publisher, to think about the reality here, which is that kids are expecting the video and actually engaging with the video. And as publishers, we have an obligation to provide that to them down the road. But over time, those 3 metrics, traffic, engagement, and then helpfulness and authority, sort of became the metric that we evaluated the project on. Oh. There it is. So there were obviously costs here, though, big ones. So obviously, there's a production cost in producing huge quantities of visual content, but beyond the production cost, we actually took a revenue hit every time I did my job. So I would do my job and put visuals on a page, but everybody's eye is drawn to this really cute illustration of all of the various diverse characters loving one another, and not the ad at the bottom, which has effectively become invisible. So we had to accept what was a cost, as well as a revenue hit, and believe, which 4 years later we've seen, that long-term that was worthwhile. And we believe that the benefit to user engagement and actual storytelling experience is actually worthwhile. It's worth those costs. So it was, there it is, sorry. I'm gonna go back one. It was so worth the costs, we did it at scale. So over 4 years, we ended up doing 1.4 million custom visuals, and those are live on over 150,000 of our articles. And that's a lot, and it's taken a lot of manpower to make it happen, and we're constantly trying to move the needle even further on that visual content. And that's where those costs actually came in. So I want to close by talking a little bit about this concept of building a visual brand. So for us, people think WikiHow and they think, okay, so my toilet is overflowing. I'm going to quickly search something on my phone and try to get it to stop overflowing. When we started doing the visual content project, we began to be able to actually take our content and market it as evergreen content. We were able to take it and put it on social media where people were engaging with it and browsing the content, and they ended up coming back to the brand and actually engaging with the brand in a much more abstract, not specific, I'm trying to stop my toilet from overflowing kind of use case. And that's been a huge win for us. Separately, it all boils down to the same underlying premise, which is The visuals have to mean something. It's very easy to believe that they're just splashes of color on a page as a publisher, but they mean a lot more to individuals. And that's why we've seen visuals rise to what they are on social and rise to what they are in terms of user engagement. And for us, that means making the visuals instructive, but it can mean a lot of things to a lot of different publishers. Thank you.